Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Investor Podcast. I'm so happy to be back here with you. Today, I'm going to talk about a concept that I've been talking about in the groups, and I'm seeing that it's really helping a lot of people in there, so I wanted to bring it to you. It's also one of the 5 pillars of the SI method, which is a timeless, non-linear based money approach that I teach inside the Spiritual Investor that allows you to shift your frequency and then take action from there in the 3D world. So I know that a lot of you are going through things right now. I know I am myself. I feel like I'm walking through the fire like all the time right now. We're in an accelerated time. I think we can feel that. And we can also feel that like things are kind of right here that we want. And so another reason I wanted to talk about this today is because I feel like this could be something that could get you from where you are now to that next opening for you with regards to allowing more of what you want in this case, the form of abundance you're looking for here is likely money. So I call this breaking the structure. I've talked about it on this podcast before. Actually, I have sort of been developing this, if you will. It's kind of like got my own methodology behind it since I walked the Camino in Spain, which was 2 years ago. And it's really evolved and transformed. I have put together new content inside of the group it's gone deeper. And a lot of that is because of the times, because we are deeper now. Like we're all in this advanced conversation now that we couldn't even be having 2 years ago. And also like I'm kind of the ultimate guinea pig here because whatever I teach is also what I'm practicing in my own life. So it's like I'm kind of walking through the fires in a way so that I can, well, it's mainly to help myself, but it's also I get to help you because anytime you're going through something, it always puts you that much closer to it in terms of kind of an empathetic perspective. So breaking the structure, what it is it's a calibration to the new self-expression of who you are. And the self-expression of who you are now is exactly matching the money that's in your life and is exactly matching all of the things that you see around you. Now, you have these desires, you want something bigger, but then your self-expression is still based on basically your identity of who you are now, which is effectively who you're choosing not to be. So I like the word calibration because it feels like something that is full of possibility and something that we don't need to lose ourselves in order to do. You're going to lose parts of you anyway that don't work as you are opening, because that's how you actually move forward, is to let go. So you don't have to actually worry about and think about, okay, this part of me is broken, I need to fix that, because the more you do that, the more you're going to focus on it. You have to find ways to open up more, and you can't actually open up more unless you're willing to break down the old, because there's no space. So like I said, breaking the structure is part of a 5-part process that I teach, and it's not to say that you go in on breaking the structure and it's not like a first step. You could go in on investing and then you sort of run into the wall with investing, and then you could move over to breaking the structure, or you could move over to money neutrality, or you might find out that you don't have enough money to invest and you need to go over to the money management. So all of these things work together in a really beautiful way. And it's fun too, because it's kind of like a game. You get to go kind of between different points. But what I love about it is that you don't have to bring your old self into it. And that's part of the big problem that is keeping you where you are, is that you are working for your old identity. And so by giving you a new structure and sort of new language, new way of being, something that you can lean into that feels like it's drawing you in, and it's not a part of you. It is a part of you, like that deeper part that you feel, because it's all based on energy, but it's not that part of you that you need to fix, because we can talk all day long about your conditioning and your money blocks and all of that, but I just think that we're beyond that. Like, I just don't see that as the accelerated route. So anyways, this calibration is something that is representative of you being able to do this in your life on an ongoing basis. I am constantly calibrating myself to more money, to more abundance, to more love, all of that. And as you know, it's an internal game. So when we bypass I'll say the old system, the old part of us, and we get into a new frequency, that can be shown to us in a lot of different ways. That can be shown to us like, it almost feels like you can tell when you're showing up new. It can be shown to us with, more money coming into your life, more opportunities, all of that. But then that doesn't mean you're done. What that means is that you're just at that point in your journey. And that's when you would want to slip over to money neutrality, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to allow in everything that is there for you. And the way that you do that is you have to put the car in neutral. So if you get too excited about it and you're like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. Or if you get afraid of it and you're like, wait, but what if this means that I can't, handle everything? I can't hold all the money. I can't make good decisions with it. Well, I just want to say all of that is ego. And so what you're doing is when you're going to money neutrality, you're kind of like, okay, let me go back to neutral and allow in, allow in, allow in. Breaking the structure, by the way, can be habitually something in your life. It can be letting go of like a value. It can be moving to a new city. It can even be a pattern in communication. I have been communicating with this one person in my life where, I've had some areas where I've gone into like walk myself into walls basically in communicating with this person. So what I've done is I'm just going to try new ways. I'm just going to experiment in new ways. Now it's not always well received, but that's not what I'm looking for either. I'm not looking for well received, not well received, because then I go into right and wrong and then I put myself back in the 3D world. What I'm looking for is breaking the structure. I'm going to communicate with you and I'm going to show up in a way that is different. And when it's different though, here's the key. It can't be different from, I've never said this insulting thing to you before, I'm just going to choose a new one, because that's out here. It has to feel different internally, and it's only going to feel different if it's new, and it's likely going to go into the area of also you feeling very vulnerable. Because if you didn't feel vulnerable, then it would be something repeated that you'd done, because it would have its own area of comfortability in your psyche already. And so I want you to really think about, and because you have to feel your way into breaking the structure, even though it's technically an action step. And also part of breaking the structure is not just what you're doing in the moment. It's all the responsibility around setting yourself up and creating your world for breaking the structure. You guys have maybe heard me talk about this, where it's like you're not out here just to like make income and then that's in the moment that you get the money, then that's it's done. It's all about creating the space for money to come in, and that's how you're actually making more money. That's how you're making income that's above what you had before. So this is very similar in that what you're doing is you're stepping into the responsibility to break the structure because you want to create new. And you want to create new because that's how you free yourself up from the lockhold that you have in your frequency now, which nothing wrong with it. It's just going to keep giving you what you have to a certain degree. You're always going through frequencies, by the way. So that's why you see some money come into your life and then it goes away, or then all of a sudden it was just a one-time deal. That it's because you're moving between frequencies but not able to stay. Hey, if you like this episode and you like where these concepts are going, we have a masterclass coming up inside of the SI Club. It's called Inviting More Money In. And so I welcome you there. It's going to be a Zoom call. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to learn so much and we're going to get to connect together. So just go to thespiritualinvestor.com and sign up for it. All right, I'll see you there. Right now, you are continuing to break the structure in your life to a certain degree all the time. You're either doing it voluntarily because you're trying new things, or it's happening to you involuntarily, like a car accident happens or anything like that, right? There's many bombs blowing up because of us, and there's bombs blowing up in the world, which actually is us, but it doesn't feel like us anymore because it feels like a circumstance, even though those are one and the same thing. We don't have to get into all of that. But what I want to hone in on here is that breaking the structure is basically your own inner readiness. So the outer world is reflecting back to you your inner readiness in order to step in and do this. So an example would be, a lot of people say, I would like to have more money to invest, but I have a corporate job. Okay. So the outer world is a reflection of your inner readiness there, right? And so breaking the structure is going to be an aspect of this, because how is it going to where's the bomb going to go in that mini equation? Are you going to move towards moving out of corporate, or are you going to do something within corporate? Are you going to sell some stuff out of your garage? It doesn't really matter as long as breaking structure is actually giving you access to infinite possibility. And that's what I mean when I say something new. If you don't have access to infinite possibility and you're playing in the space of money, then to a certain degree, you're just recycling the same money, ideas, creation, money, ideas. You see what I'm saying? It's the same loop. And you can get a little bit more juice out of that orange, but I don't really think that you're here to do this. Breaking the structure is, you can kind of think of it as like the shadow side of money, right? Like, you have these shadow sides that you don't feel like need to be blown up. And you feel like, to a certain degree, you can even feel like they're good. Like, there's a certain conscious level to how we're operating in the world. And sometimes that can tie into people being like under a belief system that if you're spiritual, then you can't be wealthy, because all of these spiritual gurus became wealthy and then they did all these bad things and all that. Like, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with holding on to that. It's really you just determining what you want, because you don't actually get what you want. You get what you create. And so when you are going through breaking the structure or any of these steps, what you're doing is you're ultimately trying to rid yourself of like the cloak from the old world paradigm, and it's giving you a structure inside of the new world paradigm. And this is really fun, because what it's doing is it's taking this fluid, energetic world where you feel these hits and you feel like, oh yeah, I understand that. Let me implement this into my life. But then you sit down, to do something with your money or investing or whatever. And then it's like, well, where's the bridge here? So by giving you a structure, non-linear, that helps you consciously disrupt your identity, then what you're doing is you're effectively choosing in life. Because there's a lot going on in your life right now that you're not choosing, that you feel like you're choosing. But if you were really choosing the things in your life, then you would never have a regret, because you can't have a regret and choose something at the same time. So there's a lot of like invisible choosing going on. And also sometimes when it gets reflected back to you as a circumstance, it can feel like it's outside of you when really it's not. So breaking the structure, a big advantage of it too, is that because it does create that space opening, what typically happens is that you see money suddenly come in. I'm pretty well versed at this. I have gotten quite good at breaking the structure, and it's very, very close to the point where I can literally predict what's going to come in. I don't ever put an element of time on it. I think I probably could if I wanted to, but I'm just not interested in that. I have kind of a general fuzzy time, but it's like, it's more of a feeling of time than it is like okay, this will be here by, November. Because the moment that I do that, I put myself back in linear time. And that's linear time is a limitation. Even the word linear means something that has to go like step-by-step fashion. So It also means that you are judging yourself to a certain degree on the steps that you take. The way that I operate is in this nonlinear fashion, and then I'm able to take action from there, and then whatever action comes out of that, it's kind of a brave way to live, really. And some people call it trusting the universe, is you are then standing on the shoulders of that. And then you're sort of breaking the structure again, and you're standing on the shoulders of that. Now, I'm not trying to change the way that you operate, and I want you to know that you can apply this into any way that you operate, as long as you're willing to challenge yourself. And are you up for the responsibility to challenge yourself? Because what you're really doing is moving frequencies. And so there's no reason that you wouldn't want to move frequencies, because the more you move frequencies, if you're doing it as a function of responsibility and expanding into greater consciousness, then you're going to feel better because you're going to be more of an open individual. It's kind of like when I sit down to talk to you, like I'm always like doing some type of practice where I just like I feel very open. I might be this open and then I feel like this open. Now, is it all the way open? No, I still have my stuff, but I'm always just like getting it the best I can get and then leave it. Getting the best I can get and then leave it. And the best is only the best to me, because that's the thing. None of this stuff works when you have yourself in comparison. None of this stuff works when you put yourself back in linear time. And you have to be willing to experiment. And when you're willing to experiment, you're also taking on, I'm going to screw this up. I might mess this up. But when you start to see that there really is no such thing to mess something up, and you really start to see that when you are willing to go to the level of breaking the structure, whereby it's not just something that you are habitually choosing as an action step. Okay, I'm not going to go to bed late anymore. When you're taking it to the level of dealing with your own emotions when it comes to, I don't want to go to bed at 9:00, or I'm up at midnight. Now what do I do? And when you start to see that even when you're succeeding or you're not succeeding, it's the same energy, because it's all just energy, then what you're doing is you're moving towards consciousness, which is one. And the more that you do that, the more you also see that money and your energy are also one. And that is, to me, that is true empowerment. So empowerment to me is not feeling powerful and better. Empowerment to me is dropping the distance between concepts and energy and you and me and everyone. Because if you think about it, you're more empowered when you have more access to energy. You are an unlimited energy channel. And so you can actually feel neutral and be more empowered than if you feel quote unquote empowered. And so hopefully this is helping you see that there is a whole world, there's an access out there for you if you're willing to go through the eye of a needle over and over again with regards to breaking the structure. So where a good place for you to start with this would be, look at the areas that you are, like you absolutely are so staunchly, like, I don't want to say against, but I'll just use that word. Like I am this type of person. Okay, so let's say in a relationship, I am this type of person who requires this person to do this. Okay, so that's a great area to break the structure, and it's hard. And breaking the structure doesn't have to be hard, but it's going to be hard because you've already told yourself that this is something that you need to hold on to. That's the only reason it's hard. If you can suddenly connect with that version of you who doesn't need that anymore from that person, then you can make it a different journey. But then that all comes down to perception. Okay, another thing with breaking the structure. If you don't do money management because you feel like it just drives you ballistic to sit down and do that, that'd be a great way to break the structure. if you do money management prolifically, but you don't see more money coming in your life, that would be a great way to break the structure. Because what you're looking for is, you're just looking at your own world and you're letting it be your teacher. And that's a really way to start at this. You're going to go deeper on this, and there's many levels of this that you can take it to. All the levels actually get a lot easier as you sort of get better at this. And, you know, I've heard really successful people talk about this in sort of a way like they love the challenge or they love the fire or whatever. So if it's easier for you to look at it that way as well, I'm kind of trying to give you multiple ways to sort of see this in a way that resonates with you, because it is so powerful, and it is also an integral part of you getting what you want. So break the structure and then take action from what comes from there. That's very important. So I'm not giving you a linear step by step, because the next step is going to come from you. And that's how you know that you're not playing in the 3D world. So I want you to just lean into that and be okay that you're not coming out of this with all the answers. But that's by design. Because if I were giving you all the answers, guess what? They would be all the answers for me. And I can color them into making it look like I'm so smart and successful and wonderful. Hey, do this, it'll work for you. But I actually think that that's part of what's holding people back. You know, I see on social media all day long, here's your 5 top tips to wealth. Okay, well, what does that have to do with this person who's from a totally different area, totally different mindset, totally different set of circumstances that they are creating, by the way? So how is that even going to be relevant to them? No, I think you know what I mean. It's your game. And if I can guide you and I'm really trying to give you portals that you can walk through, and then giving you a way to ask questions from there. You're going to see answers within your own life. If you want to ask me questions, you know, we have different ways for you to do that. But there is something that is coming up for you right now, I guarantee it, where you know there's an area where you need to break the structure and you haven't done it yet. So I would make it as simple as that. And I would also consider that your frequency is your identity, and that you always, no matter what, this is law, you always have greater access when you open up to we'll call it a higher frequency. So this is a win-win no matter what you do. As long as you are not judging yourself, as long as you're not breaking the structure and judging yourself, because that'll just put you back. As long as you're breaking the structure and going, hey, wait, what's on the other side of that? You know, whether you do this on your own or whether you do this, you know, with other people, you have to stop working for your ingrained identity. And this is how I'm going to, hopefully, this is my intention, is to help you get there. So, all right. So much love to you, and I'll see you on the next episode.